I just don't think he was. I just don't think he was able to make it today.
We are live, ladies and gentlemen, with Wicked Realm Games. Sorry. We have the wonderful Ben and Fury have joined us. I believe Joe is going to be along very, very shortly. Guys, welcome to our charity show, and very thankful to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Anytime.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not legally allowed to say that, but I mean it in my heart.
All right, so what is the story, Fury? That hat is stealing the scene right now. What's going on with that?
It's so funny. I wasn't wearing this last year because I was living under that bed. This is just the hat I wear every day. I collect hats. This is my favorite one. It's got a story, but I started wearing it specifically more when I moved to Boston because it's one of the only hats that I own that doesn't blow off in the wind, and Boston's really windy. So that's one of the reasons.
Come on, Idle. This is your. Now you sat on the sidelines last year, and I had to host.
We're waiting for Joe.
Listen, I'll just start talking about Deep Rock Galactic if we don't start talking
Rock
about
and Stone. Let's do that. Are you excited for season 2? Have you seen the promos?
Dude, I don't do the season feature. That is not the kind of.
Only basic bitches do that, Idle.
You're just the driller. You're just the driller that goes. You're just the driller that goes around dropping C4 on everyone, aren't you?
No, I'm offended. Take that back instantly.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm out.
I didn't really mean that. Before Joe gets here, but yeah, thank you very much, guys. We've got some questions for you. We've got some leftover questions from our community as well. So hopefully we'll get around to those as well. They're a bit more light, a bit more fun, but we'll wait for Joe to come in. But guys, how are you doing? How are things? Obviously, we've heard from Ben lately, so we know how you're doing. Everything's great with Ben.
Yeah, we're good. We've had enough Ben. That's all right.
This is Fury and Joe's time to go, and we'll mute and kick Ben later if you need to say anything. That's
no, we need Ben. He's our moral backbone.
Fury's not used to seeing how much abuse we give Ben every time he comes on.
That's
so.
true. But he gives it. According to this last one we had, definitely can give it back.
Yeah, we got
called out. I feel like I have to. I have to defend myself and the team.
That was good.
So
too right.
Yeah.
Joe,
well, it's funny because last time I remember Fury reaching out to me. Oh, hi Joe. Fury reaching out to me and saying, "Oh my God, they're grilling you like a burger," and I was like, "I know. Those guys, my friends.
I know what you do. It doesn't mean I'm ready for it, but I am here."
Excellent. Okay. Guys,
welcome, Joe.
Yes, welcome, Joe. Joe, how the devil are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Thank you for asking.
Excellent. Guys, we're here this week supporting mental health charity Mind. It's something that's sort of very applicable to all the three of us, and we've kind of asked everyone that sort of come on. Have you yourselves had any experience with sort of mental health in your own roles and in your family? Obviously, you share as much as you want to share. Like, we're no force or anything, but is any part of your job, any part of sort of your history that's sort of like been influenced by mental health and mental health worries?
Yeah, I can take a stab at it first. I think just being in the games industry is a high stress environment. There's a lot of, as with any job, there's deadlines, there's a lot of things going on. It's where we do a lot, especially I would say our team, working on Star Trek timelines, we do a lot of content, every week. And we, pride ourselves on not missing a week. The content train don't stop. Choo choo. So, and the result of that, you can things can get stressful. And obviously that affects mental health. But working at a company, Wicked Realm, and working under Tilting Point, having very good flexibility in that. If you need to take a day, you can take a day, right? So there's been times where we released 2 clients back to back, very stressful. And, a couple of team members be like, I just need a day to, take a day for myself and take a mental health day. So, we're just really fortunate that we, work at a place like that kind of lets us do that. And, has perks like that. But yeah, I don't want to steal the show, but Fury or Joe, what's
you always do, my friend. You always do.
Fury or Joe.
Sure.
Go.
I'll jump in here. Yeah, so like first and foremost, I want to acknowledge how fortunate I am. Like I know the past few years have been extraordinarily difficult for everybody, but I'm lucky to be in a situation where I've been able to keep my job, my livelihood. I know lots of people lost their businesses, and then even deeper to that, family members or more. Um, and so you know I'm definitely grateful for the situation I find myself in, but I've definitely struggled with a lot of things over the past couple of years that have sort of been discovered. Uh, Early on into 2020, um, uh, I was struggling with a lot of home stresses and just stresses of the unknown with the current state of the world at the time, and I was able to sort of seek professional treatment, and it's been extraordinarily valuable to me. I still speak with my top therapist every other week, and it's incredibly invaluable for my mental health. And my son's trying to barge in on us, which is fine. It's fine. Um, just another fortunate thing as well. I know a lot of the past few years have been isolating for some folks, and I am so fortunate to have such a loving, supporting family as my son rips down the thing that I was trying to keep the sun out from behind me. But yeah, so this is great. I am fully supportive of the mental health seeking support, and this is a great charity. I'm glad to be here and to help support it.
No, fantastic. I'm glad to hear that you've reached out and have. Cool, my word, that's blinding. The ray of God behind you. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Sorry.
You've gone out and sort of talked to people about it. What we said before is kind of one of the most invaluable things is just being able to, no matter how trite you think it is, just being able to talk to someone about things that are bothering you. It's no matter how irrelevant you think it is, get out there. But no.
Yeah, and I want to stress too, like people shouldn't feel embarrassed that they have to talk to someone either. Talking to someone does relieve a lot of stress. It kind of just gets things out, clears your mind. Meditation too, I found helps. So that's been another thing that I've been doing, and yoga actually. I've been doing yoga. I would have never thought I would have done yoga, but yeah, it all helps.
Can we have Mockbara Ben as a card in the game then? And this is where Fury comes out and goes, I'm just awesome.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't think I've ever met anyone who doesn't struggle with the difficulty of being a cognizant citizen of this planet. Like, it's a very difficult thing to simply exist, let alone all of the extended horrors the internet has added to our lives, and for better or worse. We're not designed to handle such systems, such complexity, but we have to anyway because it is the place in which we found ourselves. And I mean, frankly, the pandemic is a massive human tragedy and has been beyond duress causing for a majority of the populace. But at the same time, it's fortunate then that everyone has started taking mental health more seriously, even in the last 2 years than they were 5 years ago. Just saying, oh, there are things you can focus on to make things that are unconquerable seem bearable, regardless of, people perhaps were able to ignore things they thought they needed until the tower of cards kind of crumbles externally, and then you're left with the internal. And if the internal isn't stable, it's unsustainable. And I think a lot of people at a macro level are realizing that, and as such, mental health has started to become destigmatized a little bit more. Hopefully, if it's anything like D&D got destigmatized in the past decade, we are on the path to success in regards to mental health destigmatization. Big fan.
Do you guys have an Office D&D game going?
Wow, I just almost cursed. Bad. We did for a while.
Oh wow. Who's the GM?
We had multiple because it was a West Marches.
Okay, cool.
Good stuff, I must say, but not right now. But yes, also to conclude, good charity. Give money, help people good. Yes, nice.
Embracing the double speak there. Be like charity good. Like, so, you know, what do you do?
Double plus coconut.
Let me fold in a question then. This is one that was posed to Ben a couple weeks back when he was on for our Q&A, and he wanted to kick it to today so you guys can answer. And as the curtain goes up and down behind Joe, he might want to answer this one first. How do you guys cope with remote working? Do you have a preference between returning to the office or working from home?
Yeah, I'll jump on this one. I think first and foremost, like, we're incredibly supportive, and like we try to laugh off when, you know, my 3-year-old comes gallivanting across the monitor or wants to ask questions or interact for, you know, the 30 to 60 seconds that it holds his attention span. So that's really important, that just like it's a slightly different situation, and just recognizing that and being able to laugh about it is really important. You know, working previously in the office, you know, I had extraordinarily long commute. It was about 45 minutes, no traffic, and would sometimes climb to an hour and a half, you know, on bad days. And so what I didn't realize what that commute was doing for me, outside of spending time, was transitioning sort of mindset from work life to sort of life. And, you know, I kind of quickly had to discover a new method to sort of mentally transition. My secret power is real pants. You know, at first during the pandemic, I was like, oh man, sweatpants all the time. But like now I try to put on something I would wear in public, as I'm going to be on calls all day. But even, you know, from the pants down, waist down, I think it's really important to sort of just like, okay, like I am working and I'm wearing things that I would be.
I'm not saying you have to prove that, but we don't believe you.
There's a button.
Oh, no.
Attaboy. Well done. Better than me.
They're not
98% of my days.
And I don't do it all the time, but it's just a helpful thing to sort of transition sort of between the life that is just right there, right? So
I've actually found that too, of like, so you know, it took a little while for me to kind of build out my office, like since we started working remote. But then once that was fully built out, like my office is where I do work, and when I'm not in my office is where I'm not working. And just separating that, right? I think goes a long way as well. Because in the beginning, I would work on my couch. I'd bring my laptop, work on my couch. Like, oh, this is awesome. I can, you know, have the TV in the background or whatnot, and do stuff. But yeah, it's definitely important to separate work from home now that the lines have kind of been blurred a bit. What about you, Fury?
I'm digging it. I moved since the last time we spoke. And now I have a place to play games and be alive that isn't also where I work all the time. I remember Ben saying this last year at the charity stream, and me being like, huh, sounds nice, Ben. Way to rub it in. Thanks, Ben. And man, you were not lying. It is revelatory. It's really, really a good idea. And I knew it was a good idea last year, but I couldn't do anything about it. And this year, I can. So that's been nice. Similarly to Joe, I was commuting quite a ways as well. I sometimes got up to an hour 15, depending on the traffic for in the city. But I don't do that at present. I'm still within relative driving distance of, you know, when, you know, the office, as it were. So if we like have a company event or something, I can head down. But majority of the time I work remotely, just personal preference. And I like it because, I mean, similarly, that commute was rough, and getting that time back has helped. Oh man, separate work office space. It's just really good. I remember a tilting point was like, hey, do that. And I was like, smart. And I ordered a work keyboard and everything. Who knew? Ben knew. Ben knew and told us. That's the answer to that.
Listen, as some myself, I do sort of like 35 to 40 minute commute myself. Like how many podcasts are you behind now that you were previously? How many audiobooks are now sitting in the shelf? Just like, I've got no time to listen to these anymore. Like I found like when the brief period when I was working from home, I was just like, I went back on the road and went back to work. I was like, I've got all these podcasts I can listen to now.
I'm not a podcaster. It's just a matter of which of my albums don't get looped just as many times these days. Yeah, Joe got me. He's like,
have you got the 6 CD player in the back? Have you?
I think, thankfully, my son is getting to the age where, like, and I love Disney musical stuff. Like, that's great. But like my commute was like I would listen to Hadestown or Hamilton or whatever the new thing was, and just there back like for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. So I definitely miss that. But it's weird. It's weird, like you said. Like it's like this thing that was compartmentalized into this portion of your traveling life that just like disappeared like overnight. You got it back in some other way or find a different way to incorporate it. But
you wake up at 6:30 in the morning and you're getting in the car and I'm like, oh wait, hang on. I don't need to be here.
One of our developers
did that once.
Yeah, one of our developers would be like, I'm just taking the drive, like I'm taking my drive to work. You just go around the like neighborhood once, like get in his car, get out, just spend a couple minutes in the car just to sort of reinforce that previous transition. But
gosh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay,
it works. It works, right?
We've started, or at least I've started. So we do still have an office space, and I'm still very very much local to that. So more recently, the past few weeks, I've been at least doing 1 or 2 days going to the office, and I snuck my dog in the other day to my office space, and it was fantastic because I put her in the little like pull out drawers.
Those were some.
And so she was just sitting in there at the little bed, and no one knew, and it was fantastic.
Did you just find the captain's chair you've inherited and just start spinning around and go, woo?
Yeah.
Guys, where is that? Literally, is that in the office space? Where is it? I want it.
We have it. It's in the storage.
Is it in
unit.
storage unit still?
Yeah.
It's been storage for a year.
I was there today and I couldn't get in, so I need to talk to someone about it. So we need to get in there for something for Star Trek 5. So I need to get a key that works.
You need to find that in some way you can shoot yourselves on it, definitely. Take it to Chicago. Yes. Take it to Chicago.
Oh, the shipping on that? Oh my gosh.
Just bundle it in the back of your car.
I should just put it right. I should put it on the top of the car, and then I'll drive by Joe. Joe, I'll come pick you up, and you can just hop in the front, and we'll just drive straight to Chicago.
So
that's great.
I've already missed my music segue, but Ben, last time you were on, you said that you'd taken up guitar. And I know Idle has played everything from keyboard to accordion on our stream before. So is that still a hobby you're working on? And, you three guys in order, what kind of hobbies do you stick to, mental exercises, whatever, to if you need to refresh your mindset or you need to just drop some stress?
Yeah. Music has always been a very big thing in my life. And so I started playing guitar, I think years and years ago. And as I found more time without commuting every day, I found more time to, work on to experiment with my hobbies and stuff. So I've been playing a lot of music and I've kind of expanded from that to start kind of recording my own stuff, which has been a blast. And I'm learning a lot. Fury, we gotta record some stuff. To make you do that too. So
yeah, dude, where has this news been, sir? Hello, recording your own stuff? Excuse me, I'm offended. Yeah. Can we talk?
Yes. Good. But I've been playing guitar. I've been trying to in the early stages. I found recently that I'm really interested in woodworking. So I got like just a few tools, and there's like. There's a lot to it, a lot to woodwork, and a lot of tools. So it's going to take some time to get all the things I need, but
measure twice, cut once.
Kind of mess around with that and just and just picking up new hobbies and learning new things is always healthy.
Listen, I've just had Big record a guitar solo for one of our upcoming segments, but a hat's notice, I can kick him off, and if you can shred a good metal solo over that, I'm happy to replace it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do Big and I will do a battling metal guitar solos.
Yes. Okay, yes, that's on the cards. That's in your next Q&A. You and Big have got to come on. Whoever gets it right has to answer truth or dare about the game. Guys, we asked this last year, but we got a few new viewers and just want to refresh their memories. Guys, how did you get into Trek? What was your first experience as a Trek? Did you encounter it part of the working for as WRG or DB before, or was this something that you had previous to coming into the role?
I'll jump in. Yeah, so I sort of grew up with it a little bit. My dad would watch the movies, and I think my brothers probably older brothers trolled me by inviting me in to see the opening scenes of Wrath of Khan, which was definitely a traumatizing moment in my life. But no, I definitely got back into it. I'd watch the syndicated episodes of TNG and Deep Space Nine as a teenager, and then got back into it in my adult life when it was available via streaming. So I never collected the DVDs or recorded as a lot of people and fans did back in the day. But once it sort of was accessible, a colleague sort of reinvigorated that sort of discovery of it, and my now wife, and I sort of went through and watched all of it. And this was all prior to joining Disruptor Beam and the marketing team for Star Trek Timelines, which obviously was great. It was so wonderful to sort of play with those characters and those assets and bring those ships to life as part of my job. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Fury.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Like I said last year, my mom was an original Trekkie. She watched the original series as it came out and was trying to convince me to get into Trek, and was somewhat unsuccessful until Star Trek 2009, when I was like, Eomer, and then I just kind of fell in love with the French. And watched all of TOS, watched all the TOS films, fell in love with Star Trek 4 specifically, watched all of TNG, all the TNG films, and then nothing else, and then skip ahead, I get hired at Wicked Realm Games, and I've watched some of the newer stuff because of, the working on with the licensing and everything and being up to date and stuff like that, but I still haven't worked my way through the back catalog. But I was really deeply into Trek in middle school when I first got into it, and that fervor kind of hasn't left my blood. It's so funny because last year the charity stream was literally the week before we dropped George and Gracie into the game, and I couldn't say anything. And I knew I was going in, and they're like, "Tell us about a crew you've been trying to get into the game, Fury." And I'm like, "I can't." But now I can. So, yeah, that was awesome. My buddies are in the game now, which makes it a better game for me.
And we heard it from Fury, I think, for probably a year and a half prior to that. It's George and Gracie, come on now. And we're
I'm in the content planning meeting and being like, "You guys put my whales in yet? You guys put in my whales? I have the stats for you. I've got the stats. You want the ship ability? I got him. You want it? I've got it. I've got reference images up the wazoo. You want the
She opens her trench coat. She's got they're all lined up in the trench coat. Fury, which one did Spock mind meld with, George or Gracie?
Gracie. That's how we knew she was pregnant.
All right, just making sure you still know that.
Nice. Why couldn't we have had her on this fucking Trek challenge instead of you?
That's all I know. Star Trek 4, all I know. Enterprise stuff, I don't even know the characters. Deep Space Nine, nothing. I am not no. I'm hyper fixated on these freaking whales.
There is a member of our community called Fragrance Free Vaseline, and he is the moderator for Noah AK, who came on. He was the actor played Rin. He is obsessed with anything Wales or Cetacean Ops. I feel you two will get on very well.
Already
I forgot you mentioned you were having someone from an actor on, right? How did that go?
It went really well. Yes, we had Noah AK, who played Rin on Star Trek Discovery, who expressed to us that he's very disappointed there isn't a Rin card in Star Trek Timelines yet.
Now, we did message Ben back in December 2020 with a confirmation from Noah that if he got a card in game, he would come on the show and talk about it. So we're still waiting.
And we got him on the show. We did. No, he came on. He was very good. He was very funny, very informative. A lot of the behind the scenes stuff that we had with Discovery and wearing the makeup and things like that, and also the mental process of sort of going into the acting role. It is really good. It was absolute sport for him to come on for about 40 minutes and give us a chat. It was great. He launched straight in. He didn't give us any hesitation. He was just I'm going to talk about myself. It was brilliant.
Acting.
Yes, acting. Exactly. Yes.
Before we transition more to
I remember when we got to speak with John Delancey at the start of the pandemic, and he was a delight to us. And I was just starting to read about acting books because I had this idiot realization I wanted to be an actor at some point. And John Delancey came on, and I was like, hey, it's a pandemic now. How do I prepare to be an actor for when eventually that happens? And he was like, keep your day job, basically, because we didn't know how long it was going to be. He was such a delight. He gave me some really lovely advice, actually. He's a very kind man. I have nothing bad to say about that guy. What a sweet dude. But yeah, can't believe that was years plural ago. Don't like that.
Time flies.
But
like
look at that, Fury. You were just in you were just at the theater.
It's
on
true.
your show.
I'm an actor now.
Congratulations on that. Yeah.
Thank
were you
you.
acting, were you? Or were you audience?
I just came from a run of a musical, actually.
Ah.
Would have thunk.
Were you singing?
Would not have thunk. What?
Were you singing?
Yeah, I was singing.
What were you singing? Please sing it, please.
I'm not going to sing it. But it was
Have to buy tickets, Captain.
It's a local theater. It's a run of Jesus Christ Superstar, which is hilarious.
Oh.
Yep. Go figure. But yeah, he was really nice to he's nice to us every time we talk to him, frankly.
Okay,
I'm hoping. Oh, go ahead.
I got to put you on the spot. I have a John Delancey question, and maybe you can't even talk about it, but this was sort of a sensitive topic recently about exclusive crew being included in packs. And I remember back when Quinn was in a pack, and that happened to be the one that John Delancey recorded a video for talking about Star Trek timelines, and he said that these were from his favorite episodes. So when he said that, did you say, no, we can't include an exclusive crew, or did you say, whatever you say, Mr. Delancey, we're happy to include all the cards that you want in this pack?
That's sort of like an interesting sort of breakdown, and the person who sort of helps us manage that relationship has shifted. So that was with Jessica, I believe. I honestly think that was just like oversight on our part. We're just like, yep, like this makes sense. Just push it forward. We didn't check that checkbox of like, did this satisfy that thing? But yeah, no, that's definitely. It's really complex, and I know that's one of the questions that we might get into later. Like
the
how
statute of limitations has expired, so you're safe from prosecution.
There was also that worry in the back of your mind that you might just go like that, and then you'd be whisked out of existence. And it's like, well, I can either do this or I can face the players. And
okay, before we transition any more into timelines, a couple donations from Captain Buster, who says, I haven't managed to log in until now, and when I do, it seems Stars is cheating on a charity stream. Congratulations on the show, and good luck for the rest of the night. A donation from Ronaldo, who says, I love the show and the sense of community you've brought to the game. Thanks for everything you do. Thank you, guys.
We've also got one from the chat. How much do we need to donate to hear Fury sing?
It's for the children.
Listen. All of my singing in this show is screaming. I'm not. This is a chill stream. We are not. It's okay.
Okay.
It's all right. We're having a good time.
It's a safe space.
Yeah, it's a safe space. No one here Fury sing.
Okay. Also, go on. Where are we going with this?
Yeah, I tell you what, we're getting a little tight on time because thankfully
actually.
these guys have been more than tight-lipped with us. So let's see, where can we go? I want to ask Joe something. Last time you were on the stream for the last charity stream, you talked about how to capture crew art and get reference photos in the right ratio, this and that. And I was wondering if there are any crew that you really wanted to include, but you just, sometimes we try to mock these up for our show too, and we just can't get a clear photo. Is there one that you wanted to include and you just couldn't get a good reference photo, so you had to either ask the artist to kind of draw it from scratch or what?
We've definitely sort of killed a few sort of jobs of like trying to be like, all right, we went through the creation phase of this and we couldn't generate a satisfactory request for the artist. I think one example of that was one of the variations of the EMHs or the holograms from Picard season 1, one of the Rios holograms. Just couldn't find good enough references for his costume to sort of flesh out the full idea because it was something different than what Rios would show in for the rest of the show. But a recent example, so there's an opportunity to pivot, obviously. So we really narratively wanted to include sort of Curzon in that symbiosis event that was about the sort of Trill and everything else. And we went through the cap phase and we're like, there's nothing there. Like, we can't figure out how to generate a Curzon document based off of canonically what exists in Star Trek. So we pivoted. We made an STT original version. We leveraged the robes from the Trill ceremonies as seen from Discovery. So kind of putting our own interpretation on it, but leveraging the actor's likeness as we see him. I think it's primarily just dying in Deep Space Nine, that one scene that we really see him in. So it kind of like goes into a thing where it's like, depending on how important it might be to the sort of narrative or the purpose of whatever we're trying to do, we might sort of dead end it and say like, all right, like maybe we'll see season 2 Ian whatever Rios again and get a better view of his outfit, or maybe we won't, and we'll try to interpret him a different way a year or two down the line as we might need them. But yeah, there's no like binary good answer in a lot of these cases. A lot of it is interpretive and being like, all right, like, I'm talking to our narrative designer. It's like, how important is this person? Can we get away with replacing them with the different DAX or something else? And so yeah.
I know there are a few members of the community that are looking at those Rios holograms and just going, yeah, we want a set.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if they find the other thing is like sometimes there's like these things that get dug up. Like I know I forget the name of the costume designer for Discovery, but she had some of her stuff on Instagram that like was just like all these beautiful prop shots. And like uncovering some of those things, like all of a sudden, a lot of the stuff we do rely on as the auctions for the older stuff. So the auction, there's an auction page where you can search all the previous sort of Star Trek bought and sold auctions that have all the imagery of these props. So yeah, it's sometimes we discover something that then enables it. Something there. Yeah. So please, if the internet comes up with something, send it to me. I'd love to include
all cap submissions to Joe.
So you mentioned an originals Timelines originals crew. One of the questions that Ben had us kick back to today ask about that, and they say Babylon 5 and Star Trek shared a lot of actors during the course of their run. Is it possible we'll see an originals based on Tomalak's character or Loaxana? And I think I added in Louise Fletcher and Nurse Ratchet instead. All three of you guys, is there any a Trek actor who's been in something else that you really love that you want to try to make an originals for? And how is that legally? Is it a little bit tricky trying to get rights for their likeness if it's not Star Trek related?
I can answer this one again too. Yeah, it needs to be like separate enough. So I think Prince Bashir, I think is his name. Prince Bashir was leveraging Bashir's likeness from an episode of Star Trek and interpreting a completely original costume from royalty-free art of something that would be akin to sort of Alexander Siddig's appearance on Game of Thrones. So it's really tough. We've come into things where our licensing partner might be like, oh, that's a little too close to this other thing, and we'll have to sort of cut it back. So it's something that I would say there's no guarantee of any of those ideas ever coming to fruition, based on sort of the risks involved in some of them. But there might be some cross marketing opportunities, especially if it's sort of under similar umbrellas, but it's really tough how some of these IPs have changed over time and where those actors went and are now. But yeah, I will say just we have none of those ideas planned as you've put them, but it's also an extra layer of difficulty for pursuing them. So kind of have to pick our spots carefully and not put too many eggs in one basket of trying to make something happen. There's definitely an example where we did that.
As Rev
it wasn't good.
Rev Demar points out, so no TJ Hooker Shatner
then. I don't think so.
We all have dreams. All of us have dreams.
Yeah.
Any game I can put Eomer into is a better game.
Yeah,
But
well,
listen,
I guess you got you not got the Kelvin verse license then.
oh my God, Carl Urban, a good man. But some dreams have to remain dreams, and there are some things. Joe, don't. You know what? Okay.
That's well said. Thank you, Fury.
Yeah. I mean, Joe said it really well. I just wanted to add that because it's important.
We do. So I know Joe mentioned like sometimes I think one of the backups we had to go with was like a Star Trek Timelines original. I think we do have one in the pipe, actually, another Star Trek Timelines original.
Well, not an SCT original, Ben. This is specifically trying to reference a performance
Right,
from
another
Star Trek
right.
actor. Yeah,
Yeah.
Of that, we don't have any currently in the pipe because
Correct.
we got
Yeah.
burned. We got burned on one in the past like 6 to 8 months. So
Yeah.
Can I just say a suggestion for the forums? If you just put that quote Fury from yourself on there's like we all have dreams and just leave it at that as a pinned topic.
I like that on a T-shirt.
I think that will solve all your problems.
We all have dreams, Bride of George and Gracie.
So we do have one more question. These just happen to all be art questions. So sorry,
Joe's
Ben and
time.
Fury.
Run me through
but,
them. Run me through it.
a lot of people are asking, obviously, about Lower Decks and getting that license. And we've noticed an uptick in animated series crew. So I think Ben has said that some art tests were done for Lower Decks and that sort of thing. How are you finding it integrating that style into the more realistic, photorealistic stuff of live action Trek?
For sure, yeah. So, I think I can talk about a couple things that might have been sort of kicked over. So, with I think it's public knowledge that we are pursuing the Lower Decks license. We want it, so hopefully we get it soon. But yeah, with that, there was several rounds of art testing with CBS to sort of work with Mike McCann. Is that his name, Mike McCann?
Mike Mahan.
Mike Mahan.
Yeah.
Thank you. To sort of realize sort of his vision with something that worked for us. So we started with our original TAS strategy. I took the actress that plays Tendi and tried to generate like what would she look like as an Orion, right? Like using her likeness, interpreting the uniforms realistically, and ultimately, we wanted to sort of more preserve the original sort of proportions and the style of the Lower Decks show, because coming from the perspective of a Lower Decks fan, you almost want to see the Lower Decks cards as Lower Decks characters. So the challenge then was sort of interpreting that with our style, right? So we think we found something that's a good in between, and the art style is not what's holding up any sort of licensing agreement for this thing. But so basically, once Laura's finished talking, we should be ready to go with a lot of fun Lower Decks art. But it's definitely going to be leaning more towards the cartoonish proportions with a little bit more of the rendering of some of our other crew. And in doing this process, we actually worked with this different artist. We've had the great fortune of working with Mike Gardner of Mike Gardner Art. Mike Gardner's done like 99.5% of the 1,200 or some odd characters we have in this game. And we're continuing to work with Mike. Mike's great. But in doing so, we've been working with a different artist to sort of bring in more art from a different resource and sort of not just have a single lane bottleneck for art specifically. And this kind of came into the sort of yellow art phase that people might have caught. So as we got that art that art team integrated, they tend to oversaturate a little bit, and the skin tones were a little sometimes yellow, sometimes orange, sometimes too red. So it became, as we sort of received that feedback from the player base, we're like, okay, our previous pipeline and adjustments of these things needed to have an extra criteria of checking this, and so it's something that we sometimes hand adjust on our side after we get the assets to sort of bring them back more in line with what players have come to expect from the single artist that have been making the art for the past 6 or 7 years since before even the project was live.
Now listen,
Lovingly referred to as malaria art in some circles.
Yeah, I see it, and I think the important thing in context is sometimes like looking at it on itself, like you don't see it, but when you put it next to another thing, you're like, oh my god, like it's obvious, like so yeah, the malaria phase, yellow fever.
We shared in our Discord a couple weeks back links to Mike's stuff, and then the lady who did the iconography, Maria, I want to say.
Maria Picasso y Piquer is excellent. I love her constructivist art. Like people should just go check it out for that. Outside of like the icons, like a job she does for us. Like she does amazing stuff.
It's very. I've checked out her Twitter, and like that is her. Once you see her style, it is okay, I get it. That works, and it's really like one of the things we first said when you first showed off the sort of the Polestar art was just like, holy Christ, these look amazing. Like for such a simple geometric design, this absolutely amazing. Like they were absolutely good.
This new tray that you just added with the displaced and the swirly clock, I think a lot of people have already said that they like that one as well. So
yeah, she does stellar work.
Yes.
I like a lot of her like I know especially for the Polestar art, like we went through a lot of reviews of that, and she would do a few different things for like each trait, and that was a cool review process of which one screams more of of this trait, and so and talking about that. But yeah, like her iconography is awesome, really, really good.
So two things. One from No Namer in chat is, Joe, can we pretty please get access to the high quality versions of the crew art? I think there's Namer who's asked that question is just desperate for like really high quality versions of the art, because it's like a lot of the cards are absolutely stunning in art. Like there's really good attention to detail. Someone like Chancellor Martok, he's get all the sort of different iconography on his sash. I think a lot of people would like to see like the full resolution versions of those art.
It's I'm not sure of a delivery mechanism outside of like I don't know how if that's ever been shared in the past or how it's been shared in the past. But
I think Shan has put a couple on the forums from time to time, and maybe your Twitter as well. But
all right.
It's purely an aesthetic thing, because you put all this good art, and sometimes people sort of viewing it on their phones, they're looking on such a small screen, like want to blow out. It's such a good piece of art. It's worthy of showing off, I think, in cases.
Yeah, we got to make some cardboard cutouts and just give those away, right? Like that's what people actually want.
Yeah, ship them here. I'll put them behind me. It'll be fine. On the other side of things, it's like you talk about cabs, like we've infamously on the show, Stars has very much spent a lot of time putting work into making what was it called, Timelines Talks Originals, not Fake Crew, totally, where we sort of
not Fake Crew,
not Fake Crew, no, Timelines Talks Originals, where you sort of workshop up. And I think a few times we've done cards that you've ended up going on to do coincidentally. Anyway, our question was, have you ever seen some of those and some of the sort of like almost we took inspiration from the last time you were on the almost sort of cab-like structure you showed off, where you had the crew art and the traits and the defining moments of what kind of pose you should do. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those that Stars. You're going to make him cry if you say no.
I do recall watching a stream at one point where Chancellor Kumpek was shown as a Timelines Talks original, and I know Kimpek was in the pipeline prior to seeing that, and I was just like, oh god, like I almost didn't want to look at it to like not accidentally reference but yeah, no, I do recall seeing Kumpek. I've definitely seen a handful of Stars and Garters Timelines Talks originals, which is confusing because they're trying to be based off canonically driven stuff, not Timelines originals.
There you go. There's your new collection.
Work on the branding there.
Okay, we're gonna have a little fun now. Ben has been asking for. He's so excited about this when we brought up the idea. We're gonna put the shoe on the other foot, and you guys are gonna ask us how long we think it takes to develop things, because players sometimes can be a little bit impatient. And why isn't this working this now? So we did have a few of them prepared, and if you guys think of some on the spot, you can ask us. But I'm gonna work in fury on this first one. How long, Stars, Idle, and I, do we think a video for WRG's YouTube channel takes to produce develop and then
Okay.
release.
So you produced your, was it the 8.2.1 video, and immediately as soon as I saw it I thought, fuck it, I've got to spoof that. And I think that took me a good afternoon to do that. So I'm going to say
4 seconds is what it took you. I remember seeing the link to the parody of this whatever thing that we did, and yours was up in like 5 minutes, and I was like, wow, okay, good guys.
I saw it and I was just like immediately
Funnier than anything I've ever said in my life. Whatever, thanks. I don't care how long you think it takes, because it's less apparently than it takes us.
Well, I think it's an important like process breakdown. Like you just leverage the existing capture, wrote the script for I think it was auto read it, and
Certainly.
so there's a few steps there of pre-production that we've done for that video for them. So
You're right. No, you're right. Deep breaths. You're right. Joe's right. Joe's always right.
No, that's true. Like we borrowed inspiration from your video, and you borrow inspiration from our Timelines Talks original. So sort of a symbiotic relationship between your company and our company. I think so.
Wait, we're a company?
We're an LLC.
Yeah, we're
I
a
think.
company. LLC.
Okay, let's get some numbers. How long, Stars and Idle, do you think it takes for them to produce that video? I think they have a couple up on Wicked Realm Games YouTube.
Well, you'll have had to the script will have had to gone through all your sort of red tape to be approved, to show what exactly you have to say. So I'm going to say it's going to take a week for that at the minimum. The actual video editing, I don't know if you have any video editors on the site. I would say you probably outsource that maybe. I don't know if any of you are proficient enough. You could be. It's not hard to learn. I pick, there it is.
don't discredit yourself, Captain.
No, it's fine. I'm gonna say it's about a month. I'm gonna say about a month from we need to make a video to it's now up on the YouTube. Just
Do you
purely
want
for a lot of it.
hot
will
or
be red
cold
tape.
or
Sorry.
Well,
What are you
let's
Can we
all,
get hot gold?
let's all make our guess first. We want to embarrass ourselves to a maximum degree before you step in and tell us.
I'll go with 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think this is another thing that is very difficult to pin down any specific thing. I know there's a video that's in the pipeline coming up for Mission Chicago that is probably closer to the sort of 3 to 4 week range of, and it's going to include. It doesn't have VO in this case, but there was definitely multiple takes of capture where we had some stub capture and we had to recapture based on how the feature developed. There's actually some custom animation in that. So like in that case, like you're looking at like some extra steps that you'd have to consider. But I want to say the 821 might have been a little less than that.
It was a little less than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. But again, like there's the script, the VO, the capture. Yeah. Yeah, and luckily I think Fury, you did the VO recording and you had like the equipment and stuff, so that was
We were all
super
very
helpful
excited
for
as soon
doing
because
that.
obviously we'd done the charity show with you last year, and then as soon as the video came out, and it was like, "That's Fury. That's Fury doing that, isn't it?" It's just like, "Oh, it is brilliant." We're all very happy.
Yeah, it's a range, but
Yeah.
that's ish.
Is Carmen doing the next one? You're gonna go around the team.
No, I don't think the next one actually has VO. in
Says
this
yeah.
case. It's for
Although we did get
a.
a first run of it recently, and it looks amazing, and I can't wait to show it off next week.
I haven't seen it. I want to see it.
I'll
Yeah,
send
show
it.
it to Fury while we watch.
Yeah.
No, not now. But like, link me in our work-related Slack channel. Then yes, I would like to see it.
What about your work-related Discord channel that we're having this call on right now? We won't look, honest, promise.
Yeah, sure, Idol. I believe you with love and support and happiness.
Okay, folks, boys, let's guess how long it takes for a new ship model in the game, something released in the skirmish, from the drawing board to the time it launches in the skirmish. How long do you fellas think it takes? And I'm going to go out on a limb and say 4 months is going to be my
I was
guess.
gonna say 3. I was gonna say from like pre-plan. You plan it and then you've got to put it in somewhere in the current pipeline of what you've got planned. So it's not exactly like you're gonna go, should we have this ship this week? Yeah, sure. There's the model. You've already got to. Should we have the ship? And you've already got several months of stuff planned. So I'm gonna say I might even say longer. I might even say 6 months from the time you say we want this ship to when it's in the game?
I'm trying to keep in mind the sort of the rotation of events, because it's a skirmish usually once a month, maybe less, depending on how things roll out. Which implies to me, so depending on the ship, you've got to get good reference material, potentially a wireframe model that may or may not exist, because like a lot of them weren't made with wireframe models; they were
Star's
actual
got
models
mathematical symbols
constructed.
above his head right now. This all the information is coming in.
And then you've got to have a bit of time so you can like put the decals on and put them on backwards in some cases.
Okay,
2
Stars,
months.
we need a number. 2 months?
2 months. I'll say 2 months.
It's really difficult when you're talking about span time versus effort, but yeah, I could say you're all kind of right in a different sense. Like if we needed to say like we needed to add something, sort of like start the process now and get it in as soon as possible. I think Stars is probably the closest, but still pretty.
Daddy, I think.
I wanted to hear their opinion.
Daddy, I think you should add the TOS Warbird. Excellent point, son. Thank you. Okay, I'll do one more, and then I want to hear some from the horse's mouth. I'm sure you guys have some thoughts. Let's do a theme pack, because a lot of employees have done their own developers pack. So from the time you're approached to the time it makes it in game, I'm gonna guess 5 weeks. I think most of the crew are generally existing crews. So, what about you, Stars? What are you guessing there?
Yeah, because it's what 5 existing crew, 1 new. It kind of comes down to how long it takes to vet the other crew eventually on. No, I won one.
Oh, okay.
We moved on to theme packs, so or developer packs.
I'm gonna guess about 3 weeks. I'm gonna guess 3.
I say. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'll say a month.
Yeah, again, like sort of looking at span time. We're planning out like pretty far in advance. So the hardest part of theme packs and developer packs are the easiest packs to generate. Is that we say, hey Fury, what are your favorite Star Trek Timelines crew, and who would you like to add to our game? Which is like the easiest criteria to generate for someone. Whereas like when we're coming up with theme packs for like different like themes, like you kind of like, oh, we have this new crew, we think they fit in this theme, and then we talk about it and we're like, crap, we only have two 4-stars that fit in this category, so we either need to make them a 4-star or reevaluate their theme and that kind of thing. So that can go back and forth.
Lots of people, you haven't committed to the pointing collection, but I think a lot of people will be very happy if we have a pointing theme. There's enough crew.
We haven't had a pointing theme pack before, and I think that was Joe's idea. The pointy sticks.
Oh, I think I remember that one. Yes.
We had
Chakotay's one,
two
wasn't
trait
it?
packs. We had 2 traits that were pointy objects and
Oh,
pointy.
Lexi, right? Back in the day.
I forget.
That sounds like a Lexi joke. I don't know.
Yeah, pointy ears and pointy objects. I think there were 2 Vulcan
that sounds
trait
like,
packs. I think.
That sounds like Dreamwalker
Bloody as
Chakotay.
fuck.
Yeah.
Let's not pick at scrubs. Huh?
But yeah, no, I think I forget whoever said the longest time, but they're probably the warmest.
Okay.
It's
So
a
5 weeks,
I think,
probably
yeah.
a little longer.
Yeah, just
All right,
speaking
yeah,
span time from like when it's incepted
yeah.
to delivering. Yeah.
All right. So, what kind of processes do you guys think the players are way off on and will never be able to guess? I know Ben, you must have had a few in mind.
I have some opinions about this.
This is a safe space. This is a safe space.
I have some opinions, he says. I have some.
Well, I mean, it's, we always want to do, we always want to fix the bugs. We always want to, do the things that the players ask for. I mean, we are fans of Star Trek. This is a game made by fans for fans, and so, we agree with a lot of the things that that we want to, that you guys want to do too. So, I think fixing bugs is one thing as well, especially if the feature is already live. It's a much more complicated fix if the feature is already live than it is if it was in development. And for example, I know like when Voyage is first released, that was towards the end of that development cycle. The team had to grind pretty hard to get that feature out at the time it did, and there were some bugs that went through, and we worked. We had a small, I think it was two of us, me and an engineer at the time when I was in QA, for 3 sprints, so month and a half, 2 months. We were fixing Voyage bugs. That was what our job was. Like that's the work that we had to do. And so with fixing stuff that, especially when features that have already live, there's just it gets very complex of what has to be tested. You have to test your voyages in all a certain amount of different states, and then what happens when the server is deployed, right? And when the fix is deployed, what happens to your voyage? What happens to your to your game? So bug fixing, obviously depending on the fix, can range a lot. And I've gotten a lot of questions over the previous streams too. It's like, why can't you just add the community awards to all events? It's like, yeah, it's not just a button we press. There's a whole back end thing that we have to do, and involves an engineer, a designer designing it, and a whole lot of QA, and then release. So.
Okay, I tell you what, here's a really relevant one because I think you guys have gone 20 months in a row now with a new collection. So obviously you're juggling multiple ones at a time, but how long would we reckon Stars and Idle it takes for them from the idea of, okay, let's do pilot crew in a collection to putting it together, deciding the rewards and everything? I'm going to go with 2 months, but on kind of a rolling schedule.
Red alarm! Cool. Red alarm! Red alarm!
Thank you, Matty Mac84, for following. Thank you very much. I would say, yes, when you get that lower decks license, I expect to see a lot of Pack-Leds. I kind of want to say, you like, based on your schedule and how much you plan things in advance, I want to say 6 months.
3 weeks.
So what is like a day? You decide it on a whim, you Photoshop it up, and then it's out.
So I think it depending on the system too, like with collections from the start, when developing that, we built it in a way where we could add more collections through the server side. So we didn't have to release a new client, like a new update to release new collections. So on the planning side, we're a few months out, I think, at this point, right, Joe? And the work involved with that is, figuring out what trait we want it to be. All right, take a look at the crew that are in game with the trait, and taking a look at how many crew that would be in that collection, how many other collections are they already in, right? Like if there's a lot of crew that are already in a bunch of other collections, it doesn't really add value to a lot of those other crew, right? So kind of balancing that out. That's why I think over time we've kind of our focus of collection, the size, have kind of trimmed down a little bit over time. So we're trying to get, we're trying to bring the value or find the value in those crew that maybe don't have a collection already. But for planning purposes, yeah, I think it's a few months out.
I'm all out of ideas. Do you guys have any left that you want to quiz us on?
I want to. What do you guys think about a crew retrieval size feature? So a feature the size of crew retrieval from start to release. I would like to.
Gosh.
Yeah.
2 days, right? Like, it can't be more than 2 days.
It's just a button, right? It's just a button.
Yeah, just press it.
That's bait.
I want to say Skirmishes came out Q3 2018. And in terms of like a big feature, it's been at least a couple of years. All the back end work, all iconography, the art. We talked a little bit about the going into astrometrics when you retrieve a crew and all that, all the HUD work. 2 years, I'm gonna guess. Well, optimistically,
I want to say, probably your real development. I don't know. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, because you had the split, the big divorce, as it was. where you went over and became Wicked Realm Games. And I think I would like to predict that that's when you really start to think, right, we want a new feature. And then from then, and what was that? That was 2020, sort of June-ish, 2020, May, June, I can't remember, correct my dates. And then Retrieval came out pretty much this time last year. So I want to say a solid, oh, mind you, that doesn't sound long enough, doesn't it? I mean, it can't be 6 months, surely not. It must be longer than that. I'll say
Stars,
a year.
you have
I'll
a
go for a
guess?
year.
Well, I seem to recall Ben mentioning that there have been a few design documents lying around, or of like ideas that were like, okay, these are decent ideas, but we don't have the infrastructure to do it right now, or it's it's going to take a while for it to percolate. Assuming that is considered the very start of development, I would probably say like 2.5 years. Because if that's the very start of it, I would say that.
Yeah, I think it depends on the feature too. Like you said, Stars. Like we have lots of ideas for this game, and some of them have started years ago, right? But I think for crew retrieval, I'm trying to remember correctly, I think the as you call it, the divorce happened. I think it was like January of 2020, right? It was like right in the beginning of that year. Officially, that's when it happened. I don't think we publicly announced it till much later, but and I know that crew retrieval was in development prior to that for a few months, I believe. So just about probably around a year ish, and there was also some pre-planning on the Celestial Market as well during that time as well. So
yeah, I think another consideration, especially when we talk of something as sort of nebulous as something like features, is like the complexity of the team size is another thing that we're kind of like talking about time in an abstract sense, but like some of the simpler things might be involving 1 or 2 or maybe 3 people as it gets handed off through the process. But when you get to the feature development, you're talking about team size of like multiple engineers and multiple artists and multiple designers getting involved in different facets. So it's kind of this like accordion of like you can kind of stretch or squish depending on a lot of factors there. Like you can almost throw more bodies at it, and that might increase some velocity, but it might not be as good because there's too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. This has been a weird exercise. I don't know if any of the information's actually been valuable at all because it's
curious,
like
yeah.
It just like it ranges so much. I
questions, the answer to every single one of them is a big old depends, and it's that publicly. And amendment depends, comma, and we're doing our best.
Little did you know this was merely a mental health exercise. Thank you for participating in that. And do we have anything else immediate for them this evening? I think
there was another question that I wanted to push off to this, which was when I think the question was from Cole.
Red alarm.
When are we giving some Chakotay
Red alarm.
some love?
See, I didn't want to be selfish, so I thought we'd let that slide this time. But
I know we have a Chakotay in the pipe, so in the pipeline somewhere.
And is the pipeline currently jammed, lodged shut, or?
So all those backlog of lower decks cars just sitting in there, just clogging up the pipes.
All right, Joe, can you give us a number of months we might have to wait to see this Chakotay?
Just blink 3 times if you're under duress.
Give me 1 second. Ben might be referring to something specifically that I'm not aware of. Hold on a second. Let me just control F Chakotay.
Zero
get a copy of that doc.
Right.
Is it? It's. Oh, let me just message you, Joe.
Wait. Yeah, I think we're a few months away. I'll say a few months.
Yeah,
Is that ambiguous enough?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Anywhere between 1 and 12, right?
And it'll be worth the wait. Yes.
I think. Well,
Wasn't
actually,
Dreamwalker?
you might not like where this Chakotay ends up, Otto.
Where he ends up. So 6-pack,
Yeah.
Tuesday pack. Yeah.
No, it's not
Boy
Tuesday
drink
pack.
300.
And
On a
if
whole.
it's an exclusive, I can live with that because good things come to those who wait. So
Oh, Twitch with Jay says, please tell me it's a 2-star. I'd be down for that.
We already have a 2-star Chakotay.
That's true.
5-star. I think we do. Maybe we don't.
I think we do.
I think the next 3 episodes of Timelines Talks is just going to be me like connecting strings on a whiteboard, trying to figure out where he's going to debut. So,
Guys, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure for you three to come on once again every year for giving you your stories of the mental health and the things you have with that, and a little sort of inside. We love it, you know, because we love Ben coming on and, you know, doing the Q&A, but we do love it when we get more of you guys on, because I like to see the banter, I like to see the in jokes, and it kind of, you know, it's nice to see you have a healthy working relationship. At least that's what you're presenting to us. The stream will go off and Joe will sort of shower fury somewhere. I don't know.
Man, I should be in the office at some point this month. I can hug you for like the first time in 2 years.
Let me know. I could use a hug. Mental
That'd
health.
be great. It's gonna be awesome. I'll get you some tea. We're gonna party.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Fury,
Give us
Fury
some
has,
E.
has been giving me tea.
Oh,
gonna be good.
tea. I thought you said E. I was like,
Yes.
wait a minute.
No. Oh my
That's a
gosh,
different
no. Like I have a local tea shop that sells cool teas and Ben
Good.
tea that is literally like actual leaves.
you're kind of digging yourself a hole there. But
Yeah, I'm dropping the shovel right now.
That's fine. Guys, any final words?
No, it's just this is an awesome initiative. And this is a great charity you guys chose. So I will be donating as well.
Yep.
And this is awesome. And you know, thank you guys for hosting this, because you know you guys are making a difference. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, really happy.
Excellent.
cheers,
All right,
guys.
We're going to switch off to a video and we'll be back very shortly. Thank you. We'll be back soon.